Hello dear students. Today we are going to start class 9th Economics chapter 3 Poverty as a Challenge part 4. Students, in this part we will cover introduction, anti-poverty measures, the challenges ahead. Students, let us once recall whatever we have discussed in previous part. Students, in previous part we discussed about interstate disparities, about global poverty scenario. On these two topics we discussed in previous part. Along with that, we discussed about causes of poverty also. Interstate disparity, in that we have discussed that in different states poverty is declining in different way. In some states it is declining fastly, and in some states its rate is slow. Wherever agriculture is good, land reforms are there, government policies are working properly, there we have seen the fast decline in poverty. When we discussed about the global poverty scenario, then we have seen that the countries where human resource is developed, there we have seen the fast decline in the poverty. In the countries where population is educated, healthy and trained, there we have seen the fast decline in poverty. Then we have discussed about the causes of poverty, in that we have seen that different causes are there behind the poverty. If we will see in the past, then we will see once British administration was also responsible for the poverty in decline. It discouraged the traditional handicrafts and development development of local industries. We have also discussed about unemployment, which is a big reason behind the poverty. Another reasons we discussed that income inequalities, socio-cultural and economic factors, seasonal nature of agriculture, that is causing the seasonal unemployment to the people. Students, today we will discuss about anti-poverty measures. The current anti-poverty measures are targeted at two planks: promotion of economic growth and anti-poverty programs. Students, removal of poverty has been one of the major objectives of Indian developmental strategy. The current anti-poverty strategy of the government is based on broadly two planks: promotion of economic growth and targeted anti-poverty programs. Whatever the government has started the programs, the objective of these programs are economic growth and anti-poverty programs. That is to do economic development with the help of the program and remove poverty. Students, since 1980s, India's economic growth has been one of the fastest in the world. The growth rate used to be 3.5% in the earlier decades. It increased to 6% during 1980s and 1990s. Higher growth rate has helped in generating employment and increasing income of the people. Students, over a period of 30 years lasting, there were little per capita income growth and not much reduction in poverty. Official poverty estimates, which were about 45% in nearly 1950s, remained the same even in the early 80s. Since the 80s, India's economic growth has been one of the fastest in the world. The growth rate jumped from the average of about 3.5% a year in the 1970s to about 6% during the 1980s and 1990s. The higher growth rate have helped significantly in the reduction of poverty. Therefore, it is becoming clear that there is a strong link between economic growth and poverty reduction. If inside the country productivity will be higher, people will get good wages, that shows the economic growth. So we can say that there is a strong link between economic growth and poverty reduction. Economic growth widens opportunities and provides the resources needed to invest in human development. This also encourages people to send their children, including the girl child, to schools in the people of getting better economic returns from investing in education. Students, economic growth also encourages people to send their children to the schools because of poverty people are not able to send their children to the school. So when they will have the income, they will send their children to the school. They can be able to invest in their children by providing them education, good health, so that the children will become resource in future. However, the poverty may not be able to take direct advantage from opportunities created by economic growth. Moreover, growth in the agriculture sector is much below expectations. This has a direct bearing on poverty as a large number of people live in villages and are dependent on agriculture. Students, wherever poverty is persisting, we have noticed that most of the people are engaged in agriculture. Mostly in villages, people are doing agriculture. Students, here we will see some important measures to reduce poverty. In 50s and 60s, it was generally thought that poverty in India can be significantly reduced by accelerating economic growth. Students, as we have seen that higher productivity, employment, proper wages, these are the indicators of economic growth. In 50s and 60s, it was generally thought that poverty in India can be significantly reduced by accelerating economic growth. So here first we will see how economic growth can remove poverty. The issue we will discuss here, that is accelerating economic growth. Students, according to this view, benefits of economic growth will trickle down to the poor in the form of more employment opportunities, greater productivity, and higher wages. With this, it was expected that the poor will be raised above the poverty line. Next step, that is agricultural growth and poverty elevation. Students, agriculture growth has been recognized as an important factor that contributes to marked reduction in poverty. The experience of Punjab and Haryana in the late 60s and in the 70s confirmed this inverse relation between agriculture, growth and poverty. Students, there is a link between agricultural growth and reduction in poverty. In chapter first, that is the story of village Palampur, we have seen that in these two states there is higher productivity of food grains. Green Revolution increased the production in these two states. Here, fertility of the soil is good. People are doing farming. Agricultural development can be seen here. That's why poverty is less in these states. So, wherever agricultural growth is there, we can notice that poverty is less in those places. So, there is need to do the agricultural development to reduce poverty. With the introduction of new techniques so that farmers they can increase their production, and this step will be helpful in the reduction of poverty. Now next we will see speedy development of infrastructure. Students, it is an important measure to generate employment opportunities for the poor and to raise their productivity is the speedy development of infrastructure. Since private sector is not attracted to make adequate investment in infrastructure, public investment needs to be stepped for its development. Infrastructure development consists of building of roads, highways, ports, telecommunication, power and irrigation. They involve mainly contribution They involve mainly construction work, which is mainly highly labor intensive. Besides, the availability of infrastructure such as power and irrigation greatly raise productivity of labor. Students, if irrigation facilities will be provided to farmers, they will increase the productivity. So, there should be improvement in infrastructure that will lead to economic growth. People will do more economic activity. So, if more economic activities will be in the country, people will get good income and that will reduce the poverty. In villages, there should be good roads, regular power supply, so that farmers they can grow more and they can increase the productivity. That will increase the income of them. In urban areas as well as rural areas, there should be good infrastructure that will speed up the development of the country. Next is accelerating human resource development. Students, besides physical infrastructure development, besides physical infrastructure development, poverty can also be reduced through human resource development. It requires greater investment in educational facilities such as schools to promote literacy technical training investments. There should be technical training institutes and vocational colleges to improve skills to the people. Further, resource development requires healthcare by public investments in primary health centers, dispensaries, and hospitals. Students, in chapter People as Resource, we have seen that as we are doing physical investment, we can do investment in human beings. By doing investment, we can convert them into human resource. How can we do investment in human beings? By providing them health, education, and training. For this, government should take steps. For education, government should open government schools, technical training institutes, vocational colleges should be open. For healthcare, health centers, dispensaries, and hospitals should be open. Training centers should be open. As I told you, technical training center should be there. That is to development the skills. Government should focus on elementary education. So by taking this step, we can improve the human resource. This human resource development generates a good deal of development. This human resource development generates economic development because they will be able to get good jobs. They will increase their income also. Now next is growth of non-farm employment. Students, for reduction of poverty, growth of non-farm employment in the rural areas as of special emphasis, it is having special importance. Non-farm employment is created in marketing, transportation, handicrafts, dairy farming, forestry, processing of food and other agricultural products, repair workshops, etc. Students, people in villages mostly they are engaged in farm activities. Due to seasonal nature of agriculture, they have to face seasonal unemployment. To solve this problem, there is need to encourage non-farm activities also, like marketing, transportation, handicrafts, dairy farming, forestry, processing of food, etc. It should be encouraged in the rural areas so that people, along with farming, they can increase their income. Next is access to assets. Students, rapid growth of population after independence has led to greater subdivision and fragmentation of agricultural holdings and lack of employment opportunities in industries and other non-farm sectors. It has worsened the condition of agricultural labor and self-employed small farmers. Students, as in villages we have seen the division of land because of inheritance policies. The land is fragmented in small parts that decrease the productivity of the land. Because of this, the small farmers they face many problems. They are not getting the proper income because the production is less from the small patch of the land, they're not able to fulfill their requirements with the income whatever they are getting from that small patch of land. So the government should focus on this problem. There should be redistribution of lands. Now, next is access to credit. Students, people are facing the problem of capital. Basically, poor farmers, they face the problem while arranging the capital for farming, that is to provide HYV seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, weedicides, irrigation. So these farmers should get cheap loans so that they can manage capital for the farming, because they are taking loans from money lenders, traders, and they can be caught in debt trap. That that situation will increase poverty. So there is need to provide cheap loans to the farmers. The loan should be provided at reasonable rates to them so that easily they can take loan from the bank and they can start economic activities. Next is public distribution system. Students, we have seen that the main problem of the poor people, that is to manage the food for them. Whatever they are earning, the 80% of that earning they spent on getting food. So the major problem of the poor person is to get food. Food materials should be provided to the people at ration shops at low price than the market price. Government is doing this work. The program is running in all the states, but it is not functioning properly. So its function should be proper in the poor areas. We have also seen that in Kerala, in Andhra Pradesh, the public distribution system is functioning properly. Because of that, the poverty is less there. So the government policies should work properly. Direct attack on poverty, special employment schemes for the poor. Students, it is here we will see here that employment plays a vital role in the reduction of poverty. It was realized in the early 70s that it would take a very long time for economic growth to generate enough employment opportunities to, to provide productive employment to all the unemployed and poor in the country. Therefore, a strategy should be applied to provide jobs to the people, basically poor people. If employment will be more in the country, definitely product poverty will be reduced. So there is need to start new programs for the poor people so that they can get employment. By getting employment, they will increase income and they will be able to fulfill their basic requirements. So by providing employment to the poor people, the poverty can be reduced. So there is need to start new schemes, new programs to provide jobs to the people. So students, here we discussed important measures to reduce poverty. Now we will see what kind of programs are started by the government, that is to reduce poverty from the country, and how can we achieve these objectives. Anti-poverty programs. Students, removal of poverty has been one of the major objectives of Indian developmental strategy. The current anti-poverty strategy of the government is based broadly on two planks, as we discussed: promotion of economic growth and targeted anti-poverty programs. In these circumstances, there is a clear need for targeted anti-poverty programs. Although there are so many schemes which are formulated to affect poverty directly or indirectly, some of them are worth mentioning. First of all, we'll discuss National Rural Employment Guarantee Act (NREGA) 2005. Students, it was passed in September 2005. The act provides 100 days assured employment every year to every rural household in 200 districts. Later, the scheme will be extended to 600 districts. Students, this program started in 2005, September 2005. Its motive is to provide 100 days assured employment to every rural household. Earlier it was started in 200 districts but later extended to 600 districts. Let us see some more features of this scheme. Students, one third of proposed jobs would be reserved for women. The central government will also establish national employment guarantee funds. Similarly, state government will establish state employment guarantee funds. For implementation of this scheme, under the program of an applicant is not provided employment within 15 days, he or she will be entitled to a daily unemployment allowance. Students, the main features are here that one third seats are reserved for one third of the proposed jobs are reserved here for women candidates. It is just implemented by central as well as state government. If a person is failed to get job within 15 days, the person will get daily unemployment allowance. If a person has applied and not getting job, so after 15 days the person will start getting daily unemployment allowance. Another important scheme has been National Food for Work program, that is NFWP, which was launched in 2004 in 150 most backward districts of the country. The program is open to all rural poor who are in need of wage employment and desire to do manual, unskilled work. It is implemented as 100% centrally sponsored scheme and food grains are provided free of cost. The transportation cost, handling charges and taxes on food grains will however be responsibility of the states. Under this scheme, states provide food grains and other essential items instead of wages. Later, this scheme was merged with NREGA, National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. Students, in this people are getting work, that is to get food, and food is provided free of cost to them. Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana. Student, it is another scheme which was started in 1993. The aim of program is to create self-employment opportunities for educated unemployment, it should be unemployed youth in rural areas and small towns. They are helped setting up small businesses and industries. Students, as many people are not able to get jobs, so government is helping them to start their own business and small industries. The rural unemployment generation, the Rural Employment Generation Program, REGP. Students, it was launched in 1995. The aim of program is to create self-employment opportunities in rural areas and small towns. A target for creating 25 lakh new jobs has been set up for program under the 10th five-year plan. In this also, government encourage the youth for self-employment. Here, the government is taking steps to increase opportunities for the self-employment. That is to create jobs for the youth. Pradhan Mantri Gramoday Yojana. Students, this was launched in 2000. Additional central assistance is given to state for basic services such as primary education, health, rural shelter, rural drinking water, and rural electrification. Students, that is to develop the villages by providing them facilities like primary health, primary education, rural shelter, rural drinking water, and rural electrification. By providing these facilities, there will be development of villages, and by getting these facilities, the people, they can start economic activities. There will be improvement in their qualities. Swarn Jayanti Gram Swarojgar Yojana, that is SGSY. Students, this program started in 1999. The program aims at bringing the assisted poor families above the poverty line by organizing them into self-help groups through a mix of bank credit and government subsidy. Students, as we know that the poor people are not able to do more saving, because of that they are not having good property, they are not able to take loans from the banks. To solve this problem, they can make self-help groups. Within that group, they can collect money and they can help each other. If the collection will be regular, they can deposit that money in the bank and as a collateral, and they can get loan from there. In this way, government is helping them through a mix of bank credit and government subsidy. These people can be benefited. Students, whatever the programs we discussed, the results of these programs have been mixed. One of the major reasons for less effectiveness of the lack of proper implementation and right targeting. Moreover, there has been a lot of overlapping schemes. Despite food intentions, the benefits of these schemes are not fully reached to the deserving poor. Therefore, the major emphasis in recent years is on proper monitoring of all the poverty alleviation programs. Students, whatever the programs we discussed, that is NREGA, REGP, that is Rural Employment Generation Program, PMGY, Pradhan Mantri Gramoday Yojana. These programs are started to remove poverty, but the effect is less. It is not that much effective. The reason is lack of proper implementation, a lot of overlapping of schemes. Because of that, these programs are not fruitful to the poor people. So there should be proper monitoring of the poverty alleviation programs. Now students, here we will start the challenges ahead. The challenges ahead to eradicate poverty. Students, poverty has certainly declined in India, but despite the progress, poverty reduction remains India's most compelling challenge. Wide disparities in poverty are visible between rural and urban areas and among different states. Certain social and economic groups are more vulnerable to poverty. Poverty reduction is expected to make better progress in the next 10 to 15 years. This would be possible mainly due to higher economic growth, increasing stress on universal free elementary education, declining population growth, increasing empowerment of the women and the economically weaker section of the society. So students, along with poverty, that mostly we talk about food, shelter and cloth, people are having some other requirements also, that is education, healthcare, gender equality, etc. So there is need to achieve these targets by high economic growth, increasing stress over universal free elementary education, declining population growth, increasing empowerment of women and economically weaker sections of the society. So these targets should be achieved. That is to remove poverty properly from the country. Students, the official definition of poverty, however, captures only a limited part of what poverty really means to people. It is about minimum subsistence level of living rather than a reasonable level of living. Students, when we talk about poverty, basically we say that the people, those they are not getting food, shelter and clothes, they are considered as poor people. But it is a narrow concept. Many scholars advocate that we must broaden the concept into human poverty. We should focus on reasonable level of living. But mainly we discuss about minimum subsistence level. So there is need to focus on reasonable level of living. Student, there is difference between minimum subsistence level and reasonable level of living. Students, minimum subsistence level is a narrow concept. It is a narrower concept and captures of human only a limited part of what poverty really means to. It only focus on food, shelter and cloth. On the other side, reasonable level is a much broader and includes all forms of poverty. If you see in minimum subsistence level, all current anti-poverty programs and government schemes remove this type of concept of poverty. But it is very difficult, that is to provide reasonable level. For better success of poverty measures should include this defined poverty. In this, government should focus on different aspects. Students, subsistence, minimum subsistence level includes basic minimum requirements such as food, shelter and clothes. In reasonable level, besides basic minimum requirements, it includes education, healthcare, employment, gender equality, etc. Students, a large number of people may have been able to feed themselves, but do they have education or shelter or healthcare or job security or self confidence? Are they free from caste and gender discrimination? Is the practice of child labor still common? Worldwide experience shows that with development, the definition of what constitutes poverty also changes. Eradication of poverty is always a moving target. Hopefully, we will be able to provide the minimum necessary in terms of only income to all people by the end of the next decades. Somehow we can solve the problem of poverty by providing the people food, shelter and clothes. But the target will move on for many of the bigger challenges that still remain, providing healthcare, education, and job security for all, and achieving gender equality and dignity for the poor. These will be even bigger tasks, and there is need to solve these kind of problems in the country. So, along with the minimum subsistence level, there is need to focus on regional subsistence level, and there is need to focus on other aspects also, that is providing healthcare, education and job security for all, and achieving gender equality and dignity for the poor. In the last, test your progress. Students, some questions are given here. Try to answer this, that is to check your understanding. These questions are: what are the main features of the Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act 2005? Which challenges are ahead of India with respect to poverty alleviation? State the various poverty alleviation programs introduced by the government to remove poverty. So students, this is the last part of the chapter poverty as a challenge. Today we have finished this chapter. Students, in this chapter we discussed about poverty has many dimensions. Normally, this is measured through the concept of poverty line. Through this concept, we analyzed main global and national trends in poverty. But in recent years, analysis of poverty is becoming rich through a variety of new concepts like social exclusion. Similarly, the challenge is becoming bigger as scholars are broadening the concept into human poverty. So, in this chapter, many things we discussed about poverty, the causes of poverty, interstate disparities, global poverty scenario, different schemes we discussed that is to reduce poverty. We also discussed about the challenges ahead. So, students, for better understanding of the chapter, once you should go through your NCERT book. Thank you.